afternoon, before we start, just गलती से ऐप मैं फिर ऐप प्रॉब्लम हो रहा Hello. I am very sorry for laptop has been working up, and I'm very sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, I know that a lot of you or some of you have done the work that I gave you to last class, and I'm very glad uh, that you guys did. I know that I haven't been able to check it yet because I was a little, but I will check it during the week, and I will give you the answer by Friday. Like before Friday's next class, you will have the answer. Okay, so today's class we will be covering film review. In the last class we did, and today's class we'll be doing film review. Uh, Before we start, uh, I will be we'll be starting with this chapter as well. Let us start with this chapter and how to write a. So this is the last unit that you have, Unit 5, Interface with Technology, Priya Shakti, which is also a graphic novel. Now, if you remember what a graphic novel is, know that a graphic novel is a novel, but it is like a comic book where there are pictures and the story corresponds to the pictures that are there on the page. So you have like a picture book but with a story that is being said. So a graphic novel is very similar to a picture book. And if you remember that we had done what a picture book is in the Morris Sendak picture book, where the wild things are, we just did it in the last chapter. So this is a graphic novel. Now a graphic novel means it has graphics. Graphics, you know what graphics are? They are pictures. So there are pictures, there are animations. That is what graphic is. Now, what is a graphic novel? A novel that is being spoken or that is being narrated through pictures, and there is writing corresponding to that picture. So, Priya Shakti is also a graphic novel, and this belongs to a series. Now, you remember in the last class when I was teaching you, I told you that when you write a book review, you are supposed to let your readers know whether the book is a single book or it belongs to a series or is it an anthology. So you're supposed to let your readers, as a reviewer, you're supposed to let your readers know if this book is just a standalone book or is it a part of a larger thing. So in case of Priya Shakti or what is being given to you as suggested reading, it is the first book in a comic book series. And what does the main story deal with? The main story deals with gender-based violence. Now we have done some gender-based discussions in, say, the Esther Morgan story, where we discussed the domestic space that women are kept in, or they are forced to stay in, and they to the point that women usually forget that there's a world outside. Then we also discussed some other discriminatory topics, like say in Bhimayana, we talked about the caste related violence or the caste related discrimination. So this particular story deals with gender based discrimination. So you can say even gender based violence. So you can say that the topic or the theme is a little related to the Esther Morgan poem, but at the same time, the Esther Morgan poem is not violent or not uh, literally violent. It's not outright violent. Obviously, forcing a person to stay or to condition themselves to be in a domestic space is an act of violence in a very indirect way. But definitely, there's no direct violence. Like there's no beating up or no one is literally abusing you. So that is not there. But obviously, that poem is also gender based, and even this piece of reading is gender based. So what is the story about? So the story is by Devineni, Vikas K. Menon, and the drawings are done by Dan Goldman. Now, if you remember again when we talked about book review, I said first you present the factual details. which means you write about the title of the book, who has written the book, the publication of the details about the publication of the book, etc. So here also you can see that this is like a semi format where they have told you that they immediately tell you that whom the story is written by. Now Priya is a devotee, so Priya Shakti, this character Priya, she's a devotee of goddess Parvati and is a rape survivor. She has experienced not only the brutality of rape but also the humiliation of social stigma that results from it. So, as a part of this country where gender based violence or where rape or sexual assault is such a common issue, where women are constantly made to feel unsafe and insecure about their surroundings, you already know, you have some awareness that uh, for a person who is a victim of rape, does not only suffer from the act of being raped, but is also subjected to humiliation or is also subjected to the other violence of social stigma, which means you might have often heard this thing as it's very common where people say that, you know, like if someone's raped, one of the first questions that society comes up with is she was asking for it, or maybe she was wearing clothes that provoked the person who raped her. So you know that the victim of rape is not looked at with sympathy, or no one tries to understand the horrible thing that has happened to her. But what they rather do, they rather stigmatize her or they blame her for it because she has been raped, which makes no sense because obviously this person who is a survivor of rape, who has been a victim of rape, never asked for it. No one can ever want that to happen. So your clothes, the way you carry yourself, what time you are on the street, what time things happen to you, have nothing to do with uh, have have nothing to do with you ultimately going through the suffering of rape. But people just always tend to blame the victim, especially in a society like ours, where you know men. The problem with men are always are not even generally. How should I put it? Like people always go to blame the women before they can ask men to correct themselves, because it is such a patriarchal society that we live in, right? So similarly, this person Priya, she has not only been subjected to this brutality of rape, but she also suffers from being outcasted because of it. Society doesn't accept her because they blame her for it. So this book is about how this girl Priya, she learns to overcome her fear of society or what society blames her for, with the help of goddess Parvati, whom she is a devotee of, and she finds her strength, which is symbolized by the tiger that she rides. So you all know that like you must know that, or you can just search it up that Parvati's spirit animal, or the animal that she sits on, and the animal that is always by her side is a tiger. So similarly for Priya, because she's a devotee of goddess Parvati, this tiger shows that when like this tiger symbolizes the strength that she has gained from this force, or this like you all must know that God is definitely a symbol. So this strength that she has gained from the symbol of God is reflected or is portrayed through this image of the tiger that she rides in the end. So what Priya as a character is doing is she's fighting for her self-respect. She is fighting to help others who have gone through the same pain, trying to spread the knowledge, trying to spread the message that society, it is society that should be blamed for something so brutal, something so scary as rape happening to the victim, rather than the victim being socially stigmatized, rather than the victim being socially made a social outcast in like made a, rather than the victim being made a social outcast when she has been raped. So this is her whole motive in the story, for her to bring this side of society out, to fight against it, and to hope and help make this place a better world for other people who go through such a horrible, such a scary, such a frightening, such a crippling, traumatizing experience. So the strength of the comic book lies in the, now what they have discussed is why do you choose the comic book medium. Now by medium तो बहुत सारे होते हैं, like film is a medium, short story is a medium, comic books are a medium, then you have your novels, you have your epics, like बहुत सारे different medium होते हैं. Now what is the upside of a comic book? It is that it can present disturbing, difficult topics, but in a very readable manner. मतलब because there are pictures and बहुत सारे चीज लिखा हुआ नहीं है, you can also refer to the pictures for your own imagination. So what it usually does is it makes these very difficult topics, like of course you can understand the story is about rape, so it's such a difficult topic. It makes these difficult topics easier to read, easier to approach, and easier to access. Like you understand what is like what might be going on. Okay. Uh, I'm teaching from the book. So if my screen, I am sharing my screen, but as I said, there's some problem with my computer today. So if you can't see my screen, I am reading from the book. It's Unit 5. Okay. But I'm going to reshare it once more. So in case. Okay. Uh, it talks about very sensitive subject, but because it uses the comic book medium, um, it because it uses the comic book medium, it is able to reach a lot of other readers, especially young adults or especially young people who might not be able to grasp or who might not be able to understand the true depth of something as serious as rape, right? Uh, so wide is its reach that it has been declared a gender champion by the UN through the augmented reality technology. It brings stories of actual sufferers and survivors to the readers through an app called Blipper. The readers are able to are thus taken beyond the story and come face to face with the reality that is behind it. So this is like a piece of information that they have shared with you, that this book has done so well uh, that it has been declared a gender champion by the UN or the United Nations. And it actually brings you also stories of like the actual sufferers and survivors of rape. So they have given you, see here, they have given you the publication history, right? The comic book was launched at the Mumbai Comic and Film Convention in December 2014. Film has become instantly popular and the readers have received uh, massive media coverage with 800 news stories with more than 800 news stories worldwide. The BBC, the Wall Street Journal, Al Jazeera, Indian Express, The Hindu. So you can see that all these newspapers and news channels covered for the comic book. It did that well. There are over 50, there are over 500,000 digital downloads and more than 30,000 printed copies that have been distributed worldwide in schools at comic book conventions through NGOs and various festivals. So you can see that this whole that this is the publication detail of this particular book, Priya Shakti, and they have also given you that Priya Shakti has been produced by Ratapalax, that is a non-profit organization. It focuses on documentary films. So it gives you the basic premise of Priya Shakti as a story, like as a comic book, how it has been published, and it puts all of that into perspective. So now they gave you this story about how Priya Shakti came about. So you all, I don't know, you guys were very young then, and thank God you were young. You were, this incident happened 10 years ago, and I'm sure you were just what, 10 years ago, you guys were barely 8 years old. You were so little. But on this year, like on the year of, like, sorry, in the year of 2012, if you have heard anything about it in the future, you all must have heard about the Nirbhaya case because the case went on for many years and her, like the people who were persecuted and the people who attacked her, her rapists were actually given the death sentence. So you know that this scary incident was happening, even if you don't remember it from from the time that it actually happened, but you do remember that. Sorry, excuse me. So you do remember that you might remember that there was this big case that was happening because the case went on for many years. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Okay. So you must have heard because the case went on for many years till the death sentence that was declared by the court. Uh, so uh, so when in 2012 this incident had happened where this young girl was brutally gang raped on a bus in in Delhi itself while she was just traveling home with a friend, and it was 9 o'clock at night. It was such a horrific and scary incident that the whole city was, not just the city, the country, there were international protests. Like everyone was speechless at how a person could have been put through what happened to this girl in the national capital of the country, right? Where you would expect that there is some semblance of security, there's some safety. Except everyone just realized that these are things that don't exist for women. And women are so defenseless, women are so powerless against this against people who are capable of subjecting them, of putting them through such scary, such frightening, such horrific torture. So there was like a huge uproar, and people of all age groups had come together asking for justice for Nirbhaya. Uh, because obviously everyone, she passed away very soon after the incident. She did not make it because it was horrific and horrible, and but everybody wanted her to get justice, even though she did not. She didn't live to see the justice, but everyone demanded justice for her. So this person, Devaneni, who is the writer of this graphic novel, uh, he was in Delhi at that time, and in an interview with the BBC, he said that this idea that of writing this book, uh, like through a comic, was when these protests had broken out. So he understood how much power the public has, A, and B, how angry and powerless does the public need to feel to come together, irrespective of their own differences, and fight for such a cause. And this is what, and he also said, like you can see the quote, he said that he was talking to a police officer when he said something that I found very surprising. He said, No good girl walks home alone at night. You remember that this is exactly what I just said 15 minutes ago. That it's so easy to victim shame. It's so easy to uh, put the blame on the victim rather than accepting that there is something terribly wrong with society itself. And that is what needs to be corrected. So, even a police officer who is supposed to be giving you protection, who is here, who exists to help people, even for a police officer is saying that no good girl should walk alone at night. Why? That is the problem. Why shouldn't a girl walk home alone at night? Why would her walking home cause her to get raped? She is walking, she's not doing anything else. Why can't women do what they want to do? They should be allowed. No, Jyoti, you will not be asked questions from from the suggested readings of this unit, but you will be asked questions about the main topics that we are covering. Like, say, we covered how to write an interview or how to write a dialogue. We covered grammar. We did book review. We did letter of recommendation. We did FIR. We did CV writing. So these are things you will be asked to write in the exam. The topics that I have left to discuss are film review. I sent you the RTI videos. I guess they were helpful, but we will discuss the format of the RTI. And we have to discuss, one day we will discuss the interview and dialogue, like as a format. And we have comprehension. Now, if you can see that all of these texts, like the suggested readings that I'm teaching you, beneath them there's always, if you can see right now, I'll obviously, you know, if you have seen your book, you've seen your material, you know that there are these check your progress questions. So if you try to answer these questions, every suggested reading, like every suggested reading, we have discussed five, I think. This is the fifth one we are discussing. Every suggested reading has these check your progress questions. Try to answer those questions after reading the chapter. That is your best comprehension practice. But you have been, I'm sure you have done comprehension in school, and I know that comprehension uh, is. Wait, just give me 1 minute. Just 1 minute. There's someone at the door. Sorry, there was just someone at the door. The syllabus is everything that we are discussing in class. That is the syllabus. But if you want a separate syllabus, the syllabus is uploaded on the SOL website. Just give me 1 minute. Let me see if if I have a copy of the syllabus. Then I'm just 1 minute. No, I don't have a copy for the BCom one. I have a copy for the BA one. So I will look for a separate copy. I am back. Can you see me now? I am back. Okay, so as I was saying that the comprehension that we the comprehension bit is something that you have been doing since you were a child. So definitely you know how to do a comprehension, but we will revise that as well. So the only things that I have also discussed interview and dialogue with you, but we will so I after today's class I will have three classes with you, and we will be covering uh, a film review, which film review and the RTI we will finish in the next class, and then in the following class we will discuss the interview dialogue. Interview dialogue and comprehension, because again they are things I've done. I'll just be revising, and then in the last class we can do an overall revision. That's all that there is. I have taught you everything else in class itself. All the formats we have discussed. Like I said, we have discussed all the formats. So your syllabus is more or less complete. There is nothing extra that I can actually teach you. That's how the syllabus is made. So in the last, what you can do is be, at the end of your book, you have question papers, previous year's question papers. You can check those question papers out and you can start solving them. Like say for example, just 1 minute. Say for example, the first one is read the passage given below and answer the following questions, which means that this is a comprehension, right? So you can practice this comprehension. And after that, you have one which says, on the basis of your readings, write a note. Okay, yes. So I have to teach you how to make a note as yes. So then you have book review, which I have taught you. Then you have film review, uh, which I'm just going to cover right now. Then you have FIR, which I have taught you. You have the RTI, which I have sent you videos. We will just be discussing the format. Then I have taught you Facebook post, how to, we have discussed Facebook post when we did Himayana. Then I have taught you diary entry. I told you what you should write in the diary, how you should write a diary entry. Then I have taught you dialogue in the first two. I think the second class I taught you dialogue between two friends. There was that exercise that I had asked you to do, so you know how to write a dialogue as well. We discussed interviews as well towards the first class, but because we did it so early on, which is why I said that we will revise interview and dialogue. And then I gave you the proofreading to do in the last class, which is a part of your grammar. We did grammar when we were doing the squiggle chapter. So we have covered more or less everything. Yes, so the things that are left, I'm just going to cover film review, and then we will be doing the RTI format, the note making, and revise interview and dialogue. So that should cover your whole syllabus. There is nothing that is left that comes for your exam, and I haven't covered with you. So, okay, just before we start with what actually is a film review, let us uh, let us stop this discussion. Like, let us come like put an draw conclusion to today's discussion about Priya Shakti, and then we can continue with this in the next class while I also teach you something else. Uh, so since this is a suggested reading that is only given to you to help you understand topics, to help you understand themes, and to help you approach questions. So uh, these suggested readings don't particularly come for your exam. What comes for your exam is how to approach the reading or how to approach text when you face them in practical life. So anyway, uh, when we were talking about this whole issue of how a victim is always blamed for something as serious as rape, this person, Sevinani, he decided to narrate such a story after speaking to a lot of survivors of such a crime. So he spoke to those survivors and he decided to write a story about it because he realized how deep rooted uh, the problem was in society, where women are blamed and for something so scary that's happening to them, rather than men, or rather than society taking responsibility and trying to change uh, the problem. So okay, so that is, we will obviously discuss the main story or the summary of the main story in the next class. So what I can suggest is that you read this and come, because unlike your other readings, uh, I don't have the time, since you don't have that many classes left and there are some things that I still have to discuss. I would suggest that you read this and come, and I will discuss it in short with you, because again, this is a suggested reading, not something that actually comes for your exam. So I'll just teach you like the main thing that is there in this story. Okay, now we'll just cover what a film review. So what is a film review? We just covered in the last class. Just 1 minute. Find the note where. Okay. So what we discussed in the last class, what a review is, right? We talked about the Amazon reviews and how reviews help you present your meaningful opinion so that others can decide, reading your review, whether they want to go for this, whether they want to buy this thing, or whether they want to read this book, or, and similarly whether they want to watch this movie. So this is why you write a review. Now in the last class we discussed what a review is in detail. Now what is a film review? Now, film review is you watching a film and giving your opinion about that film. So now the only other question is, how do you write it? Uh, Now, film reviews, it's not very different from, say, your book review. So when you start a film review, you also start with, say, the name of the film, and you give the factual details about the film. Obviously, before you write a review, you will watch it. Like before you write a book review, you will read the book. Before you write a film review, you will watch the movie. Sorry, before you write a film review, you'll watch the movie. And when you watch the movie, you are supposed to analyze a lot of themes that are there in the movie. You're supposed to absorb the details. I mean, observe the details and absorb a lot of what it makes you feel, and analyze it so that you can form your own opinion. That is very important when you're writing a review. Like you have to try and test the product. You have to see how this movie makes you feel, and only then will you be able to make an opinion for yourself. Say for example, this weekend Gehraiya came out on Amazon Prime, and you guys must know about it because the ads are everywhere. Now the ads might want to make you watch it, and you might watch it. Now if someone else asks you how is this movie, you will only tell them whether it's good or bad based on how you felt watching the movie, right? Not just because everyone's watching it, let's watch it. Like I know that a lot of people do that, and that's okay. That is how marketing works. But at the same time, as a reviewer, you have to be honest to yourself. This is a point that we discussed when we were discussing book reviews. So similarly, in a film review, you have to watch the film and then form your own opinion. And then you will obviously evaluate the film. What is evaluating the film? You will read a lot. You'll do your background research. I've suggested this even for a book review. You will read your background, like you will do your background research. You will allow, and you will not impose your opinion, which means you will not do zabardasti with anyone. You have to watch it because it's good, because I'm saying it's good, or do not watch it. You have to give your opinion in such a way कि people read your opinion and then they decide कि okay ठीक है, this person is saying कि ये बहुत अच्छा नहीं है, but I'm still going to give it a try. So you have to leave it on them to decide कि अगर उन्हें देखना है कि नहीं. You can't force them to do anything. Always remember that as an impartial reviewer. You can't take sides. You will just have to present your opinion. And you have to explain why you have such an opinion. Like I said, for the book review as well. If you like something, you have to explain why you like it. If you don't like something, you have to explain why you don't like it. Then you have to obviously mention the mention the details that exist, right? So you will have to start similar to a book review. You have to say, uh, if you open a newspaper on say Saturday, Fridays is when films review. On Saturday, if you have seen the T2, the Telegraph T2, or in Times of India, if you have seen the supplementary pages where movie reviews are written, Saturdays usually have movie reviews of the new release that has come out on Friday. And over there, you will see that a movie review starts with, they tell you the name of the film, they tell you the actors of the film, they tell you the run time, how long is the film. These are the three important details, and they might tell you the director of the film. So these are the four details that are always there in a review. So here, okay. So how do we usually start? We start with say factual. What are the factual name of actor, run, uh, name of film, actor, director, runtime. So these are the factual details. Then you start with, again, very similar to book review, you can start with something that caught your attention in the film, or a quote from the film. You can start any which way you like, or a claim that you have about the film. Once you start with that, then you go into the first, you go into that this movie was released this Friday and it was produced by this production house. And if this, you mention if this movie is part of a series or not, because movies are also parts of series. So if you say if it's a Matrix movie, you will say which part of Matrix it is. Say it's a Marvel movie like Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home is the third movie of the Spider-Man trilogy that Marvel took out, and the movie which came after Eternals. So, like, you have to mention what is the larger picture. Now, there are obviously standalone movies. Like Gehraiya is a standalone movie, for example. So, when you talk about Gehraiya, you're not going to say ki it's a part of a series or anything, but obviously you're going to say ki who produced the film. I think Deepika is one of the producers. If I'm not wrong, I might be wrong though. So you'll just talk about the production house that has produced this film, etc. So you first give the factual details about the background of the film, and then you will finally start with the film itself. Then you finally start with talking about the film itself, and you will talk about after you have made your first initial comments, like you have made your first initial observations about these factual details, then you will start with how you had started your book review. So you will start with the summary of the film. So you'll give a very, say, small summary of the film without giving away any spoilers, of course. You don't want to spoil the film for the people who are reading your review, but you'll give them the basic, जो basic story है, you'll give them that. And after you give them that, then you start presenting your opinion. Not before you give them the summary. And your summary of this film should not be influenced by your own opinion. It should be an indifferent, and it should be an indifferent opinion, or it should be an unbiased opinion. यही है summary. This is the summary. Maybe you hate this film and you are being made to write this review. You will still write whatever the film has done rather than adding anything that you want to add. Only after you have written the summary is when you will start to write your opinion about the film. And your opinion should also not feel like an imposition, or not feel like you are doing जबरदस्ती to your readers कि मत देखो ये मत देखो बहुत बहुत खराब है ये मूवी. यू आर नॉट डूइंग दैट. व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू डू इज यू आर ट्राइंग टू टेल देम कि हाँ खराब है, बट अगर आपको देखना है आप प्लीज देखिए. That is what you are trying to do. You are not trying to tell them ki, you are not trying to make their decision. You are just giving your opinion so that they can make their decision based on that. So then you give your own, like I said, you give your own opinion. You give your own opinion, and in your opinion, you will write about everything. You will write about the music of the film. You write about the camera, lights, the way the acting was. You comment on the acting, the structure of the film. The first half better था, second half better था, पूरा film ठीक था, पूरा film slow था, first half बहुत slow था, but second half picked up pace. Ending बहुत खराब था. Whatever you have felt, you're going to write that. You're going to also write about the structure. कि there are some films जो शुरू बहुत अच्छे से होते हैं, but then you just lose interest because बहुत boring हो जाते हैं. So if it's a film like that, then you will just be like, then you will obviously talk about that as well. Like I said, you will give your own honest truth to the people who are going to watch this film after reading your review, but you will not, or going to watch it or not going to watch it, but you will not tell them what they should do. That is like uh, the basic of being being a reviewer. And obviously, so once you have commented on all of this, and then you will conclude with whatever you have to say. So how do you start? So your first para will have the factual details, like I said. So just 1 minute. Sure. So your first para, you will include the following things, which I already mentioned: name of the film, the actors in the film, the basic time and setting. Well, this makes the people aware to what they are watching. And the genre, yes, what I forgot to mention was genre. Like, what is it? Is it a crime thriller, action, comedy, rom-com, whatever is the genre. Once you're done with that, like I said, you will write the short summary of the film. Do not reveal the ending, which means that do not give them spoilers, which I already also mentioned. Then you will talk about, they have suggested you talk about one aspect of filmmaking. Now, film reviewers usually do that. So you can talk about the acting, you can talk about the direction, or you can also do a little bit of all of these things. What you actually, what appealed to you, like the directing was very good, the acting was very good. Even though the story was bad, the acting was very good. They have given you the they have given you this suggestion that you can use examples from other movies, like similar movies. You can make comments, you can make comparison, you can make analogy. This will make your review better, or it will show that you have knowledge about other films. Then you can write about another aspect of filmmaking. Now, I don't think you should write aspect, like whatever your opinion, let it flow. Obviously, follow a structure. Don't go ki एक line direction पे, एक line acting पे, and suddenly you say something else. Obviously, follow a structure, but this, and whatever you start with, discuss in detail. Then the last thing, you give your reaction to the film and your opinion on the quality of the film, and you recommend it to the people who are reading your review. So recommendation is a part of review, which we also discussed when we were doing book review. And you give stars, that's optional, but you also know कि बहुत movies IMDb में stars है, Rotten Tomatoes में stars है, and then percentage वो लोग निकालते हैं, so you know कि ये सब होता है in film reviews. So this is the basic structure of writing a film review. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this guideline. Obviously, I've also this is I have taken help myself to tell you exactly how it is done, and that is my job. My job is to research and read and then to teach you. So you can take a screenshot of this. This is how your film review should look. This is how you can do your paragraph divisions and talk about any film that you like. So yeah, this is what I had to teach you. So the book review and the film review bit is done. Now, if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. I am willing to take questions, because you can understand we don't have a lot of classes left. So if you have any questions regarding anything, or you want me to revise something, then please let me know. If there's anything specific you want me to revise, do let me know. Then I will have to time my classes accordingly, and I have to separate the time for each topic accordingly, because I still have 2-3 more things to discuss. Film review to ho gaya. I still, like I said, I have to teach you note, so I will do note class, and I have to teach you the format of the RTI. So these two we will cover in the next class. And then like I promised, I will discuss interview, dialogue, and comprehension in one class. So I have things to discuss. If there's anything else that you want me to quickly again revise, then please let me know and we can do that. In the meantime, what you can do is, you have your book, you have the e-copy of the book, which I have sent a link of. Download it. In the end of the book, there are these practice question papers, previous year question papers. Start solving them. Start solving the questions that we have already discussed in class. Practice the grammar. The people who have practiced the grammar that I gave in the last class and have sent it to me on WhatsApp, I will check it and give it back to you by Friday. Okay, how to improve communication skills. If you're talking about improving your language, improving English, then you can read more, you can watch things in English, you can practice with hearing. The more you hear, you will understand how a certain thing is said, how that thing can be said differently. Reading is a great help, and obviously practicing your grammar. Now, if you're talking about communication skills on the whole, like Hindi mein, in any other language, confidence is what helps in communication. Knowing that you are knowing what you want to say and being confident about it. Even if you're wrong, it's okay. Knowing that no matter what you say, obviously you should think before you speak. But if you don't know something and you make a mistake, know that it's not the end of the world. If the person you're communicating with is not happy with it, they will let you know. You have to accept it, apologize, and be better, and not try to not repeat your mistake. That is it with communication. Communication is a very practice thing. Many people have social anxiety. I do myself. I am not the best communicator. But we can just try, we can follow rules of communication, we can be present, confident, and just manage. You don't have to be the best, but these are ways of improving. That's suggestions that I can give you. What do you want me to repeat, Jyoti? What is it that you want me to repeat? Deepak, did I answer your question? Okay, repeat FIR. Okay, I will repeat the format of the FIR. Maybe we will do it in the last class after we have finished the discussion of everything else that is left to cover. So like I said, next class will be note and RTI. I've given you the two videos on RTI, so please watch it and come to class so that we can quickly finish it. And then the next class will be the interview, dialogue, and comprehension revision because we did it very early when we started. The last class I can do the revision of our FIR. Okay, okay. Thank you everyone. If you have any questions, please you can ask me on WhatsApp also. I'll answer it. I'm very sorry for the disruption that happened in the beginning of today's class. But you know, technology glitches. I'll see you again on Friday and I will correct whoever has sent me the grammar bit. I will correct it and then I will also give you the answers for the people who still haven't done it. But I'll give you the answers. There is a group on WhatsApp, Jyoti. Ask. Okay, I will go now. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much. Uh, See you next week. Bye bye. Thank you.